If you are interested in starting your own podcast, we use Buzzsprout because it is simple and easy to use. Buzzsprout can get your show listed on every major platform while giving you the resources for a great podcast website, audio players that can drop into other websites, detailed analytics to see how people are listening to your podcast, and tools to promote your episodes. Podcasting isn't hard when you have the right partners, and that is why over 100,000 podcasters are already subscribed to Buzzsprout to get their message out to the world. Following the link in our episode descriptions lets Buzzsprout know that we sent you. So in return, you will receive a $20 Amazon gift card from Buzzsprout while signing up for a paid plan. Most importantly, every subscription through our link is always appreciated and helps support our show so we can continue delivering the quality content that you guys listen to. That being said, back to the show.
Hello and welcome to Comic Book Junkies. I'm Andrew.
This is Joe.
And if you weren't sick of it already, we're having another basically game show type episode for you. We've had 3 of trivia. If you're new here, go back and listen to those. Basically, Jeopardy, a lot of Brazilian stuff, a lot of perverted stuff, but this time no Brazilian perverts. Kind of doing our own The Price is Right. Don't know how much we'll really be keeping score. It's more of a discussion, I'd like to say, but obviously we're going to be competing a little bit here. So basically the gist is we're each going to take turn nominating books, or, there's no real process here. We're going to talk books. We're going to give our guesses what they're going for, what we think, what they should go for, what we think they are going for, and then look into it. We've got a few different places we can look, maybe explain how we price our own books in this discussion, but, kind of see what books are going for nowadays. If you're new here too, to collecting, the heyday was honestly 2020 through like 2023. Prices soared. They've started to kind of correct nowadays, but it's not like things are that cheap in the grand scheme. So we're going to kind of see where prices are leveling off at. And yeah, got a little bit of a show here for you. But before we get into it, what's up, Joe?
Doing pretty well. Between the last episode and this episode, we had an awesome trip to our LCS.
Facts.
There's a lot
Pillaging.
to it, so I'll keep it short just because I want to get through today's episode. But I got that awesome Superman book where Lois Lane turns into a black lady for a day,
That
and
rules.
found it in the bins, not even behind the counter or nothing. What else did I get that day? I got that Demon in a Bottle cover, the classic alcohol cover with Tony Stark. I also got the first cameo of Mystique, that Miss Marvel 16, and a few other small books too. And I got all of it for $100, which is crazy. It's stickered over 200 when I brought everything to the counter, but just goes to show that there's some good businesses out there that are willing to take care of the people that shop frequently. So I was really stoked on that and might have to make a second trip because I was prepared to spend 200. So now
Facts.
I got a little bit of money to spend that I don't know what to do with. And then
Yeah.
Burger made out even better than me, which sounds crazy, but
Yeah, it was a
well,
nutty day. Usually, like when we go in there, I go in there so much that typically, like, I've already sifted through everything that I'm looking for, and Joe's the one who leaves with the stack. But this time, I left with the stack. Let's see. I got for $5. I will say that I believe there's a half a page missing, but I got a $5 copy of the first appearance of Black Manta out of the bins. Don't care if it's a point five. $5 is $5. My big book was a Daredevil 168, first appearance of Elektra. Shop owner, well, shop manager bought it like that day, walked around the store to me, says, "Do you want to buy it?" I says, "How much?" He says, "A fantastic price." And I says, "Sold." And then I got a handful of Thor books. I got the first appearance of the Black Knight in costume, Dane Whitman in Avengers 48, first appearance of the Squadron Sinister in Avengers 69. Some pretty cool books. Nothing that I was really planning on getting. They even had a Thor 126, his first solo title, when it changes over from Journey into Mystery. So I was more than pleased. And like Joe, I spent just maybe $20 more than him, like around 120, which if you've heard some of the books I listed, maybe 1 or 2 of those alone go for that price. So they do good business there. They take care of us, and there's a reason we keep giving them money. So it was overall a very successful day. But in this episode, you're not going to hear prices like that on the books that we're going to be talking about because it takes a lot of sifting, a lot of relationship building, and a lot of money spent to get the deals that we're getting nowadays. So for all of you other folk who aren't blessed enough to go to our LCS or my LCS that Joe drives an hour to, good luck. Here's what the market's going to be looking like for you. So I don't know the Price is Right theme song. I was just going to do kind of like the Jeopardy one again, but we're just going to skip past that now. Would you like to start? You want to nominate our first book, kind of see what the hell we're looking at here?
Sure, that'll be cool. Okay, so it's a book that you own. And I don't know if I didn't catch it at the beginning, but if we're talking about a Silver Age book, we're thinking probably low grade, maybe mid
Yeah.
at best. Your bronze books are probably mid to high, and then your current is probably pretty high grade stuff. So tell me what a Fantastic 48 should go for. Like you're at a con and you see like a 3.5 or a 4.
Now, here's the thing, too. I think we can differentiate and split it up, too, which I also didn't explain at the top. We could talk about raw books pricing, and we could also talk about graded book pricing, because you can get better data on graded book pricing than you can a raw book. But personally, the two of us prefer buying raw books, I would say. If you didn't know, we're raw dogs. So I'm going to kind of mostly tackle this through the lens of raw books because that's what I would typically spend my money on.
Sure. And when I say a 3 to a 4, I'm talking about approximately. I'm
Yeah.
talking about, yeah, not slabbed. But if you were to have slabbed it, it would be in that range.
Yeah, and just as a, I mean, they don't partner with us or nothing, but like if you are new or you don't have a good reference, because you could use eBay sold listings as well, it's probably the most accurate. But if you wanted to go through like for graded books, you could go through Go Collect. That would be your best reference for probably graded slabs and stuff like that. But to your point, you said about a 3.5 first appearance of Galactus, Silver Surfer, issue 48. Now, I paid like 125 and mine's like a 1.8 or a 2. It's complete, it's attached, but like the 12 cents is kind of ripped off from tape or some shit. There's a couple tears, but that's like a phenomenal deal. But I imagine the market nowadays, shoot, I don't even know how high to go. I want to say like 750. I feel like it's pretty high nowadays.
Bingo. Yeah. So I'm looking at Go Collect right now, and they got a 4 at 825. And because I'm saying like 3.5 to 4, I think 750 is fair for that condition.
No shit.
Raw. Yeah. And I would pay that, to be honest with you. I would.
Wow.
I would probably pay up to 1,000 for that book, but I would probably try to get it closer to that 750 if I can, because it could be a little higher than a 3 to 4. It could be a little lower, but
Yeah.
that's the price range that you're looking nowadays for a book like that. And I've been to cons where I've seen them for like 1,300 and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
in that condition. So people will mark it up just because it's a book that sells pretty often. It's one of the more popular ones. But
Oh,
I
yeah.
think if you are patient, you can definitely get one of these guys for about 750.
Yeah, I think you gotta just really hound the auctions too if you want to try and get that deal. I mean, you're fighting a ton of people if you're trying to go for an auction, but that's basically the only way I see you getting a good deal nowadays. I mean, unless you know a guy or something, you know. I mean, if we're talking online sales, it's gonna be tough because everyone's putting a premium on that book. There's speculation about it, and I mean, it's arguably one of the top three biggest Fantastic Four books, like as a storyline, most impactful. So it's always gonna have a high demand. But also, do I know my stuff or what? Because I'm just guessing, dog. And damn, books ain't cheap.
All right. I want one.
All right. So here's a fun one. It's also one that I own, but this one's been up and down. There was recently a movie about it, which probably hurt it more than helped it. The Crow issue 1. What do you think one of them bad boys is going for? So this is a book from 1989. I think that's kind of like Copper Age, you know, kind of heading into the modern age. So we're looking at higher grade copies. Let's just say like what do you think like an 8 is going for? Like not even like a 9.6 or anything. Like an 8. Like it's high grade, but it could be higher. Like what do you think something like that's going for? And mind you,
So not the
yep,
first appearance, but the first ongoing, which has the cooler cover.
correct.
I mean, it probably gets some more points for being an all black cover. So an 8 is probably scores pretty high, even though it's kind of newer. To be honest, I would not pay more than $600 for that book as in an 8.0 personally.
Nailed it. It's
Did I?
literally 600 for an 8.
Oh, sweet.
Whoa, dude, we're just we're on one right now.
Yeah.
And spoiler,
I mean,
folks, we did not look up the values beforehand.
no, I did not. So I think that's what it's worth.
Yeah.
I would personally try to get it below 500 if I could, but I think 600 is worth that.
Yeah. Now it's a good book. It's the second appearance. First appearance is in Caliber Presents. Not as cool a cover as Joe mentioned. This one's all black, hard to find in high grade, by the way. Now, mind you, I have like a literal like 9.6, 9.8 candidate. Like it's in the nines for sure. And I paid 275, but that was about 8 years ago. So I would like to say that I could make my money back and then some, but if you want to know the top end, 9.6s right now are going for 1650.
That's crazy. I do think that's a book that might come down a little bit over the next year, though, because the movie's
Yeah.
over.
And it
I
wasn't
think,
good.
and it wasn't good. So there was a lot driving the book prior to the movie, and usually it'll stay there, it'll plateau for a little bit, but then it slowly declines. So I think if you wait it out, you could get this book for even cheaper than what we're talking about now in the next year.
I think I agree. You could wait it out, get a little bit of a better deal, but I do think it'll at least in high grade, it'll hold for the most part just due to scarcity in high grade and just the fact that it's a cult classic. But that new movie did not help. Anywho,
All right. So I got another one for you. What about Thor 337 First Beta Ray Bill?
oh, I almost put this on my list.
It's a
So,
newsie in this situation too.
and are we talking like an eight-ish or?
Yeah, let's talk an eight-ish is fine. That'd be good.
Okay, so personally, if I'm buying this book because it's newer, I personally don't care to spend more than 60 for a raw copy. But if we're talking high grade, like maybe we're talking slab, maybe we're talking like looks mint to the eye, I could see like 120 is what they might be going for, but I might be way off base. Personally, I'm like a $60 guy in mid grade.
So an eight, according to Go Collect, is $80,
Oh, cool.
and a 9.2 is 110. So you're looking at anywhere between $80 to like 120, probably.
For a pretty nice one. I
And
think that's
for
fair. I think $100 for a clean one is pretty good, but it's not a book that I have to have in high grade, if you get what I mean.
yeah, I don't think I would want to spend more than $75 on this book. And if it's an eight, that's great. If it's higher, that's great.
Yeah, it's a good book. It's a cool character. It's just there's something like about the feel. It doesn't feel like a book that's ever gonna demand more than $150 in like a 9.8 even. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah, I don't ever see it being more than a $200 book.
yeah, and okay, 9.8 was hyperbole because those get like ceilings, but yeah, it's like ceilings not that high.
Assuming you don't have like a 9.8 slab, you should never pay more than $200 for this book ever.
Agreed. Well, I'm glad we agreed there. Time for me to move on to one that we both have. Now, this is going to be silly because we both paid well under what I think they're going for. But Flash 106. It's the first appearance of the Pied Piper and Gorilla Grodd. So you've heard on our recent episode, Joe got his for next to nothing. Granted, he's got a 1.8. I don't know what I'd grade mine, but mine also was only like a few $100. So, let's put it around where we think mine is, I guess. Like, let's say maybe a little higher. Why don't we look at, I don't know, like, let's just go with a four. What do you think like a 4.0 Grodd goes for?
Dang. I would probably pay, let's call it 1250 for a four.
Whoa, well over, my friend. We're looking at half of that if we're looking at fair market value.
Seriously?
Dead serial. I'm surprised myself. If you want to pay a grand, you're looking at about a six, actually, a 6.0.
That's crazy to me because I feel like if you were to go on eBay right now and look at like sold, I'm not looking at that right now, but it's gotta be higher than that. That's a old book that you don't see very often.
Now,
So
here's the kicker. That's in six. Would you like to hear the jump from a six to an eight?
let's hear it.
5 grand. So this book in high grade is apparently a ghost. So if you want a real nice one, you're going to be paying out your ass. 9.2 is $16,500. Good news is we didn't pay that much. And I did pay less than 500 for mine, which is probably at least a four. And I don't know. I feel like that's a good deal if we're looking at the value right now. Like based on what I'm seeing, if this is based in truth, I would advise you. Well, I don't do, waiving all legal liability. I'm saying as a collector, if you'd like one, it seems like now is the time to get one because I don't see the book getting cheaper, but 500 for a mid-grade book from 1959, like the second issue of the Flash's solo series, like doesn't
Yeah.
sound that bad.
No, because man, I feel like a low grade is $400. I feel like the floor's gotta be super high on something like that.
Yeah.
So to get a mid grade in that like sharp pink color. I don't know. Like I can see where it could dip to being a $600 to $800 book at like a low point in the market, but I feel like all day, like if you were to buy at that price point right now, that you wouldn't regret it
Yeah,
because
yeah, I
I
agree.
don't see anything but that book moving up throughout time either.
Yeah, and let me say this too though, like the book has it has a weird range. The mid grades they marginally go up, but like the barrier to entry, like if you want like a complete attached copy, it's still going to cost you $300. So I mean, if you can get one that's technically like twice as nice, I'd spend the extra $200 on it,
For
for your
sure.
show.
Alrighty. What you got?
That was mine, dog. You want another
Right.
one? I'll give you another one.
Yeah, give me another one. I need a redemption after that.
Well, this ain't gonna be an easy one. I'll be honest, I picked a lot of my books for this first round just because I was looking for inspo and stuff that might be a little tough. So here's a real weird one for you because there's not much basis around the sales. Wonder Woman 98 from 1958. The first appearance of the Earth One Wonder Woman, technically the first Silver Age appearance. The origin with new facts, and it's got a new art team. Basically, a fresh start for Wonder Woman. What do you think this thing is going for? And let's also go with a 4 since it's around the same age. What do you think a 4.0 Wonder Woman 98 is going?
Can I give it that same 1250?
You can, but you're coming in a little high. Would you like to take 1 second guess?
Hmm.
Gotta shave a little off the top, my friend.
Let's go to a clean $1,000.
We'll say give or take. What I'm seeing is about 925 for a 4.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
that's
think if you get that book $1,000 or less, that's a deal.
now here's where it's fun too. A 2.0 is going for 350. So at minimum, you really are paying 350 to get a complete attached copy. But if you triple what you pay, you can get one for that's twice as nice. So there's a large disparity here between this and the Grodd. This book definitely shoots up in a different way, but there's a lot less sales because a 6.0 is 1900 and then there hasn't been anything higher than an 8.0 sold since 2012. So I guess the market's still out, but it's a rare book. I still feel like the pricing is fairly fair.
Totally agree. That's a book where it's not going anywhere either.
No, I
Um,
feel like it's slept on.
I do too. I do too because I feel like it's not clearly defined, even
Yeah.
though it's like what most people say it is.
Right.
It's a little ambiguous, but at the same time, let's just call a spade and let it become what it is.
Well said. And there's not a lot of Wonder Woman keys, so I feel like it should step up as like a desirable one. You know what I mean?
For
Like
sure.
of that era, I can only think of like that issue 105 and I forget the number, but the Silver Age Cheetah are like the big three of the Silver Age in my opinion.
Right. And I feel like that one's not even clearly defined too. Like if you look at eBay, they'll call it the Silver Age Cheetah, but if you look on any kind of like Go Collect or like Key Collect Comics or Comic Book Realm, they probably just have it as like a normal issue.
Yeah.
Uh,
Whatever, man.
Whatever. But I got one for you. So let's how much is an Amazing Spider-Man 50? And let's
Ooh,
call it a 4.
shit. I'm so off base nowadays. So first appearance of the Kingpin. I feel like the floor is pretty high on that, so it's gotta be. I'm gonna be a little conservative. I'm gonna say 650.
Final answer?
Sure.
Okay, the answer in a 4 is going to be what you said 650?
I did.
You're on. It's 575.
Hell yeah. It feels a little steep. I feel like it's a book that's worth it, but I feel like a 4 should be like 450, 500.
Yeah, I don't think I'd pay more than 500 for that condition.
Yeah.
I do see it growing pretty rapidly. I feel like these are starting to sell some of the most popular books have been selling lately, partially because of the cover too.
Yeah. I mean,
Not
he
so
quits
much
in that
just the
issue.
Kingpin, but even Daredevil's brought a lot of attention to Kingpin. But yeah, I don't know. With all that considered, I feel like I see these all the time. And for that reason, I feel like 500's cool for that.
I agree. I think it's like worth it. Like for sure. It's an iconic issue. It's 50, the cover, the story, the Kingpin, everything. Especially with a lot of juice on Kingpin being involved in TV and movies all the time nowadays. But part of me, I think it just comes down to like my bias when it comes to buying books. If I have like 500 and I'm gonna buy a Spider-Man key, am I gonna buy a 4.0 Kingpin or am I gonna shoot for like something in the first 20 issues and get like maybe like a 3 of something, because I could definitely get raw copies of like, well, actually should have put those on the list because I don't know what the hell the first 20 are going for anymore. But I feel like you can still find like an real early book for the same price, in my opinion. I don't know, but I am also biased. I bought mine for like $120 back in, yeah, like 2017, 2018. But
I want to say I paid like 200 myself,
right,
but it's
I think
grown
that's the hard part.
deservingly so. But I think, to your point, that's a little much for right now, especially with the overall market being down.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, I got another one for you.
Cool.
What about a New Mutants 87?
Cable
Yeah, and let
in like
first Cable, and let's call it like a nine-ish.
140. No, no, wait for a 9,
Yeah, anywhere between
110,
like a 8.5 and a 9.2 ish. So you're saying,
115.
okay, let's see here. Yeah, you're right on the dot. So in a 9 is 110.
Do I know my stuff?
So yeah, if you're gonna find this book for clean, I would try to get it for $100 because a 9.6, like a mint, is like 160. I bet a lot of people are gonna try to charge 150 for this book for it being like high mid grade, but don't take that. It's not worth that much. This is a book I'd probably try to find on eBay because of people trying to mark things up.
I think I tend to agree. Like if like this is a book where like I mean it's new enough to where you need to buy it in high grade for the investment to truly be worth it, like if you're looking to get something out of it. But if you're just a collector first and foremost, I'd rather gamble on some clean looking raw copies and hope that they present nicer than I guess described and save yourself maybe 30, $40. But if we're talking about for flipping or investing, I mean you do need to get a 9.6 or 8 for it to truly be worth it. But if you like the character, I gamble on a raw copy. You could probably get one for like $80.
Facts.
Facts. We're gonna go back to the Silver Age for you, Joe. It's another first Silver Age appearance. Some
Take me
say,
there. Take me there.
some don't believe. First Green Arrow, first Silver Age Green Arrow, first Silver Age Aquaman, but you can confirm it is the first Topo the Octopus. Adventure Comics 229, book we both have gotten, book we both think is slept on. A lot of people probably disagree with us. There's at least a small contingent out there who do agree with us. What do you think this is going for in about a 4? Because it's a nice old Silver Age book.
In a 4, I bet it's criminally low.
Oh, I got fun facts for you, but
So I'm gonna guess about $300.
little high, but you're in the ballpark. It's about 250.
Yeah, but to be honest with you, I think that's a $500 book all day long.
Well,
It,
it's gonna blow your socks off when you hear what a 6.0 goes for. About
I,
260. $10 more.
yeah, that ain't right.
I
So, I
wish.
mean, I'm sure it is, but like it's criminal because that book is so big if it is what it is, and I think it is what it is. So, one of these days, I think this is a book to get in on because as soon as people start recognizing it for what it is, I mean, no, sky's the limit.
I mean, it's all upside on this book. You could take the gamble because of how relatively cheap it is. If the general market has the consensus and comes around to it, you're right. Buku bucks probably because it's a cool book. But I mean, worst case scenario, if you're an Aquaman fan, it's a first appearance of his sidekick in the Silver Age, Topo the damn octopus. So no matter what, you've got that on your side. It's not a non-key. But it's hard to delineate with those Silver Age first appearances. So, there's going to be a lot of discussion there, but I like to see it the same way you do. Kind of tipped you off to it. I won mine. Probably shouldn't even say that. I won it at what was it, a confirmation, I think. I was in a church when the auction ended. I had to look down from in my pew and click bid, and it was under $100, but I was just like, God wanted this to happen.
And he delivered.
He did. He did, and it delivered, and so did eBay, and it came without a scratch. Perfect. Very nice, very clean, as is yours.
Yeah, I got mine, I want to say for about 200, 250 or something like that, but mine's like super nice. But when I
Super
was
duper.
looking for it, it was like 250, 300 for like super low grade, like half the cover ripped off. And I looked for like months before I could find one because you don't find them in the wild either. So it's just like when one does come around for the right price, worth it. I don't regret it
That,
whatsoever. But I
dude, we
got
got
one more for you, and then maybe we'll do a part two of this. So last book I got for you, let's call it, since we haven't done anything modern, Edge of Spider-Verse 2.
Oh, what grade are we talking?
We're talking about like 9.4. We both had these for $3.
A 9.4. I'm gonna say 375. I feel like no, 9.4 is gonna be so much, but it's new. I'll lock in 375 up to like 400-ish, I guess. It's gonna be more than that, but modern books really get me.
Yeah, this is a book where I've seen it around 300 to 400 raw. And you're right. So I'm seeing like a 9.2 is 280 and a 9.6 is 350. I could only imagine what a 9.8 is though.
Oh, tons. Or if you got the
Tons.
Greg Land variant.
Yeah, we didn't have that. But honestly, mine could have been a 9.8. I don't know. I'm kind of sick.
I know. Yeah, I
So,
sold mine for like $30 in gas money and like a low grade bullseye, which I sold.
see, I sold mine for like $100 in like store credit. But what made me sick is I got a book that was advertised as complete and attached, and it wasn't with that $100.
Oh.
So I feel like I just took a fat L that day. It's
Yeah, we
cool
both
though.
took the L.
It's cool. Whatever,
You
you
live
live
and
and
you
you
learn.
learn. Whoa.
Whoa.
Well, we gotta leave now.
Yeah, that's enough from us.
Yeah, that was weird.
Cool. Well, I had fun doing this. This is a good little exercise. I mean, I don't know if you out there listening give a crap about these books in specific, but it's just a way for us to kind of test what we know, maybe learn a thing or two, maybe you learn a thing or two, and there's a chance we do this again because I think I had fun doing it.
I had two,
Um,
yeah, and we prepared enough for like double. So yeah, we could definitely revisit this. And I think we were both pretty accurate, other than my one Flash 106 guess. Everything
yeah,
else seemed pretty close.
that one was a genuine surprise too, but I wouldn't have guessed that if I was you, I would have guessed like you. So yeah, I think we're pretty accurate for the most part. We'll see how many more books this extends to. But in the meantime, if you want to see pictures of some of these books we've talked about, you could see them posted on our Instagram at CBJ Pod. You can go on Facebook it's at CBJ Podcast. Type in Comic Book Junkies Podcast if you want to find us. You've seen the logo. Tell a friend, tell whoever, rate, review, subscribe. Helps feed the algorithm, which helps us find more fans, more friends, more comic aficionados. And yeah, we appreciate you listening. We'll cook up another good one for you. Stay tuned, follow. We drop an episode every couple weeks. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you guys.
Later.